morning, guys. Yesterday and the day before that, you were learning about conflict. Conflict that happens in life and conflict that happens all around you. Not only does conflict happen in your own personal lives, but it also happens in our stories and the things that we read. Conflict is everywhere. It's kind of what makes things interesting sometimes. When there's no conflict, we don't really know what to do. But there's almost always conflict happening. Sometimes we have internal conflicts and sometimes we have external conflict. Today we're going to talk about what's internal and what's external, and we're going to start to dive into that. All right? Get ready. Let's look at these examples and decide if it's an internal thing, something that's happening inside of you that's a conflict, or something that's outside of you that's external conflict. Let's look. So if I had a 6th grade student picking on me, would that be an internal conflict inside me that's happening on the inside? Or is that external? Is that coming from the outside of my personal being? Good, yeah, guys, that's an external conflict. I am not a 6th grade student picking on myself. Somebody else is doing it to me. It's between two humans. It's coming from somewhere else. It's an external conflict. It's coming from outside, coming in. I want to run for the class president, but I'm too scared to speak in front of strangers. Is that internal or external? When you want something, but you're also scared to try to get it, is that something that's coming from the outside, or is that your own fear? That's your own inside fear, so it would be internal, okay? Do I go to school, or do I stay home and play games? This isn't a fear, this is just kind of a decision that you have to make, right? Do you go to school, learn, and have a productive day, or do you stay home and play games and not pay attention when your teacher's talking? This is still an internal conflict. This isn't anything on the outside that's forcing you to make a decision. This is your decision all on your own. You need to make it for yourself within your own being. So this would be an internal conflict. And finally it says, Mom's car slid off the road in the blizzard. We must stay inside the car until we are rescued. Okay, guys, was that an inside conflict? Is something happening inside them that they're like, oh my goodness, I'm scared. Oh, I don't know what I should do. I don't know. Or is it something that's happening on the outside? Something happened to them, something terrifying, yes. Their car slid off the road, but they have to wait for help. They need help from the outside because something outside affected them. So this is an external or outside conflict. Good. You guys didn't do too terribly on that, I hope, if you were paying attention. Now we're going to keep going. There are 4 types of conflict. We have internal and external on all of these, okay? Internal, external is not a type of conflict, it's just categories of conflict. There are 4 specific types of conflict. Man versus self. That's me versus myself. I know I'm a female, but it's a person doing internal conflict. So whether they're making a decision of, should I call in sick today to work, or should I show up? Or if they're making a decision like, man, I really don't want to stop, but I should stop because I haven't seen my mom in a week, and I should probably go talk to her, even though I really just want to go home and go to sleep. Those are internal conflicts. That's man versus self. You're comparing things and you're making decisions inside yourself. It's an internal conflict. That's type 1. Type 2 is man versus man, or person versus person. People say it different ways. It's okay. This is like when, here's an example. My sister was supposed to take out my dog. She didn't. Is this a conflict I'm having with myself, or a conflict that I'm now having with her because she forgot all about my puppy? Angry. That's a man versus man, or a female versus female, or a person versus person conflict. I'm upset with somebody else because something that they did. There's 2 people upset with each other. Maybe one person is upset with another person. That is a man versus man conflict when 2 people are involved. It's normally external because she didn't do something I wanted her to do, or she did something I didn't like. That becomes an external conflict. We also have man versus nature. This can be crazy, all right? This can be like a hurricane. This can be the weather. This can be anything that's nature driven, okay? This is when you're planning on going out to the beach and then a storm hits. You're not going to the beach in the middle of a storm. That seems like a terrible idea. You're now having a conflict with the nature of the storm because you're like, come on, you're ruining all my plans. Or like when Miss Farmer decides to wear a dress because it's supposed to be a beautiful day outside and then it's freezing. Man versus nature. Not happy about it. Very mad at nature right now. Alright. And then there's man versus society, and this is also external. And by society, we mean like a group of people. So a really good example of man versus society is things like politics. When you're like trying to decide who's right, who's wrong, when there's all this media influence and you're trying to figure out, oh my goodness, what is going on here? That's a conflict. You're having a conflict with society because you don't know what's going on. There's not a whole lot of man versus society conflict when you're still young. Enjoy it now. It gets more and more as you get older and older. Okay? These are the 4 types of conflict. Can you guys remember what they were? It was man versus himself, man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus society. You're going to have an activity today where you watch clips and you have to explain what the conflict is. So do your best, try your hardest, and let me know if you need any help. All right? See you guys.